And today, as we kind of start getting settled in, I want to talk just a little bit about how quick answers can backfire. And as we start to get started in just a little bit of an exchange, make a comment, let me know you're here, and share some of your wins for this week. What is happening in your world? Tell me about your wins. What have you accomplished? What have you conquered? What has changed since we were together last week? Tell me maybe about a time where you ask a question and you actually got a question back, which is huge. If you can help people to understand, you want them to ask a good question and go from there. That's what we want. We want people to ask us questions back. So when you ask a question, do you start at the beginning? I'm one of these people that even if I don't intend to, I will start a conversation with a question. It's just not always a complete question. Why is this technique common? Have you ever wondered why we do this? Personally, I believe we've become so busy that conversation has become rare. Exchanging text messages is not communication. It's just not. It may be noise, but it's not communication. How many ways are we letting it be known that we're really only partially listening? Partial responses really just sound distant and uninterested. We've all heard it. Fine, sure, go ahead, whatever you think. But never looking away from the screen where our attention is on something. And now we have screens everywhere. Really, we're telling people we're not interested. We've all experienced it. Now, what does that do? Sometimes we get answers back that don't even apply to the question we ask. And we've all had that happen too. We provide an exact answer to the wrong question. Have you ever done this? I mean, come on, guys. I can't be the only one who's been busy doing something. Somebody walks in, asks a question, could be at home, could be at work. And the other person wonders if we're ever going to return to the planet. So comment me if you've experienced casual responses to your questions that just left you wondering. Now, how about the other side of this? Have you ever been on the asking side of the scenario? What response were you seeking? You reached out, you asked a question, and you had an expectation, right? We don't ask questions without having some sort of a intent, right? Leave a comment and tell me what you felt in that moment. Did you feel ignored? Did you feel angry? Did you feel hurt? There's always some sort of a questioning, where are you? And let me know when you come back. And in response to that strange action, were you willing to ask another question when you got just a disconnected response? Or did you just walk away and give up? Now, I've also done that. I've also just said, never mind. And it honestly depends on who it is. I'll tell you that. When we feel as though we're interrupting, the conversation is going to die almost instantly. Now, are we supposed to change the approach? I don't think so. I really don't think so. You might disagree with me. But if you want to know if somebody's listening, what else are you supposed to do? Our inability to listen has cost us in interactions at home, at work, in the community, with aging parents, with young children, with our coworkers. If we don't learn to listen, we're wasting time and energy. And that is not something I'm willing to do. I don't know about you guys, but I don't really care to do that. So especially in a remote situation. And we're seeing this more and more as people are just not bringing people back into the offices. In remote situations, you have to leave a message because not everybody's engaged in their chat tools at the same time, and they're supposed to be answered later. Are we willing to stay in a conversation where the response is curt? If I only get back a yes or a no with, and I have left a nice message, what's my reaction supposed to be? Am I supposed to say, oh, you're a marvelous person and I'll be right back? I usually take the hint and go away. So we need to be aware of how we're coming across, because we can't fix it. That's important. We cannot fix it. In relationships where we've never met the other person, how do we come across? And as leaders, I will tell you this, we have all been, as leaders, we have been on the receiving end of questions that are maybe off topic, maybe an interruption. And how we respond will set the tone for the conversation now and the relationship going forward. How we actually say the words, slow down, ask for clarification. If those quick answers are too quick, we could actually be telling somebody, shut the door and don't come back, without really intending to. So the quick answers require enough insight to avoid costly mistakes. So if you're expecting somebody and you've told them to come by, ask something, give you information, a quick answer is okay because there's a context around it. But if somebody comes by, and you'll also notice that it depends on who it is. It depends on who it is if you pause and answer the question, but is that really fair? Shouldn't everybody get that same respect? Don't we all deserve that respect? So once you get to know the other person, you can always have a specific response for each individual, because there are people in our lives that we have specific answers for. So here's a couple of ideas. You have somebody who throws a topic out you weren't expecting, and you don't have enough information to actually answer. You can say something like, tell me more about that. Or you can stop what you're doing and say, sorry, I only heard part of that. What did you say? That's perfectly fair, because you're telling the other person you care enough to say, I have no idea what you just asked me. And that's fair. Now, here's another one. What do you want to do? If they're coming by and they're asking you for advice, they're asking you for an idea, they're asking you for permission, it's okay to turn it around and ask them what they really want to do. Because if it's against policy, if it's something that you're going, you might break a few things, it's okay to ask them for their ideas. But for each person, we've got to stop and think about what it means if we don't connect. With a few pre-planned questions, you can gather more information without the other person knowing that you weren't really listening. And that way you convey value to that person. And it doesn't really matter who it is. If you'll just ask a question in return, they get a different message. So as I get to know new people, I will listen for those softball questions that include a trapdoor if I respond too fast. Some people just need to know that I'm listening. That's all they need to know. Other people will walk toward me and then just start talking wherever they were in their thoughts. And I get the last part of what we call the tape. I have a friend who does this all the time. Walked into my office and all I got was the tail end of what she was thinking about. And we would laugh. And the response is, rewind the tape. Rewind the tape, start at the beginning, and tell me what we're talking about. If you have somebody like that, try the response of rewind the tape and see if you don't get more information for the situation you're being asked about. Now, children are especially adept at making us wonder about the real question. Partially because they don't always know exactly what is shocking, what's out of bounds, what is Something that maybe you'd rather they ask at home instead of in the grocery store. We are shaping the confidence of young people with our responses to their questions. I have a great niece who is almost 4 years old, and she speaks better than a lot of adults. And she is constantly asking questions. And I love the way that she will do that because she's like fearless, because she knows I will answer her. And I want to build her confidence, and I want her to continue to come to me if she wants to know something. Now, I also know what she doesn't know. I know what she is kind of out of bounds for her and out of her experience. Now, as a child comes to you and says something shocking, I would pause before I react because they don't know what is some of the topics that maybe they shouldn't even know about, much less talk about. Now, my idea of shocking and theirs might be worlds apart. And we have to take the time to address them, to build their trust so that as they get into those teen years, as they get into those danger zones, they'll come back and they'll ask those tough questions. So we're always building relationships. When the first volley will, if you will, that softball question, you have the opportunity to give that person value and confidence. You can actually let them know that you care because you may not have heard them, but you didn't react. And reactions are something that really take away confidence. They take away value from the other person. We don't want to do that. So I really do want people to be confident when they approach me. And as I got to be a more experienced manager, I realized that I really had to just let them say whatever they wanted to say. As I respond, I build their trust. I improve my reputation for being approachable, and people will determine if they even want to come to me. So if I'm not willing to listen and be approachable in the simplest way, they won't come anymore. And that's what I've always been concerned about as a leader, to be approachable. We do it not just verbally, but what about our responses when we're on social media? What about our emails? What about all the places that somebody will ask you something and you think, what in the world? And that's a valid question, but don't let them hear you say what in the world. We really want people to care about and know about what we do and what we mean in our communications. I want to be the person that people will ask another question. I want to be the person that they'll darken the door of my office, that they'll call me on the phone, that they'll send me a text message, and they know that they're going to get a caring response. So comment, answer, if you can relate to fast answers and either the danger zone that they present, the misunderstandings that they create, all the different things that we need to pause, take a breath, and have a few of those planned questions ready so that we can get more information and people know that we care and we're not just trying to get rid of them. So I hope you've kind of had a little bit of a chance to think a little bit during this few words that we've shared together, and that you can maybe ask me a question. Let me know what is on your mind today as far as asking questions in return before you give the answer. Have a great day. Thanks for being here. Make sure that you stay in touch and stay active in the group. Thanks so much. Have a great day.